About 1.5 times the size of the United States and 99% covered in ice, the Antarctic is a strange frozen continent. It holds 90% of the Earth's ice and nearly 70% of the planet's fresh water, giving it the least populous continent. It has many secrets. Of course, Antarctica's mystery fades as we learn more about it and study it. We already know that there are mountains and countless lakes hidden beneath the heavy blankets of ice, which explains why the water in Blood Falls is red. Antarctica, however, was not thoroughly investigated by scientists due to its remoteness and severe weather, and it continues to be wrapped in ice mysteries. To uncover the mysteries held by old glaciers, conspiracy theorists have produced a variety of beliefs. Conspiracy theorists believe that the lost city of Atlantis, a Nazi base, a UFO base, the oldest pyramid in the world, and the Antarctic may all be connected. In contrast, visitors don't frequently travel to Antarctica even though it might be a mistake. Here are some of the most fascinating Antarctica facts and information to stimulate travelers' attention. The singing ice. One of the largest pieces of ice in the world is reportedly singing right now, according to scientists. As wind gusts over the Ross ice shelf's rough surface, the enormous expanse of frozen water and dirt emits a continuous shrieking sound that sounds like it's singing. Though depending on how you define singing, it also may sound like the ice shelf is screaming. You can't hear the noise by standing on the ice because the tones are too low to be detected by the human ear. Some have compared it to the eerie didgeridoo sounds. Others claim that the Ross Ice Shelf, which is located in the southern waters adjacent to the continent of Antarctica, has a foreboding soundscape reminiscent of the tense score from the 1950 space alien film of the same name. Researchers buried dozens of seismic sensors beneath its surface in 2014. They weren't doing this to hear strange noises, but rather to learn more about the ice shelf. After 2 years of data collection, they discovered that the ice shelf's surface is constantly vibrating. That sounds like singing as a result of those vibrations. The University of Chicago's Douglas McHale, a glacier specialist, claims that the tremors are only caused by the wind, but the sound they make is frightening. What do you think? Giant monster birds. In the 1980s, scientists discovered fossils from Antarctica that represent the earliest giant extinct group of birds from these southern oceans. These terrifying birds were straight out of a prehistoric nightmare, with wingspans of nearly 21 feet. To put that in perspective, the longest wingspan of an eddy living bird is 11.5 feet. However, 60 million years ago, the wandering albatross would have looked like a hippo, and the wandering albatross would have been a truly majestic animal. Pelagornithidae are birds, and they were among the first large predators to recover from the extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. The Earth was struck by an asteroid 66 million years ago, and by 62 million years ago, the Pelagornithids had already gained dominance of the southern skies. One of the more recent finds in Antarctica was the fossilized foot of a massive bird that lived 50 million years ago. Researchers also discovered a portion of a jawbone that lived 40 million years ago. These fossils, according to Peter Klaus from the University of California, demonstrate how swiftly birds evolved over a relatively brief time. These giant birds of Antarctica went extinct 2.5 million years ago as the Earth cooled and the Ice Age crept in. But like every other animal that has ever evolved, they perished gradually. They were suddenly enormous, had exceptional wings, and had free reign of all the seafood in Antarctica. The lost city of Keona. The ruins of an anti-diluvian metropolis from the time before the biblical deluge are allegedly hidden someplace in Antarctica. However, no one has uncovered the ruins of this lost city, despite claims to the contrary from self-styled researchers. The metropolis is named Keona, and our ancestors' aliens are said to have founded it in Antarctica thousands of years ago. This city was constructed in Antarctica by visitors from another planet who used it as a base while they spread life on Earth. Although the legend stretches back to some 13,000 years ago, when catastrophic changes on the planet caused the poles to freeze, Keona was entrapped in the ice. As far as historical records go, the Nazis never found anything. To this day, we don't know if there is an ancient alien city hidden beneath the frozen continent. Most of the evidence we have comes from satellite images of the area. Some claims it's still down there, somewhere under the surface of Antarctica waiting to be revealed. Some even claim the Nazis knew about the lost city of Keona, which was why they were so desperate to establish a base of operations in Antarctica. Do you believe that Antarctica may contain a lost city? The ruins of Atlantis. There are many more self-proclaimed experts interested in the lost civilization of Atlantis, which seems to be more grounded in reality, but according to some recently released satellite images, the ruins of Atlantis may have just been discovered in Antarctica. We've probably heard about the mysterious city of Keona, which was allegedly built by aliens when they started experimenting with humans. And we've also heard about the mysterious city of Keona. There is currently no physical proof that the ruins of Atlantis have been discovered in Antarctica, according to Graham Maple, the man who discovered the images on Google Earth and uploaded them online. The structure appears to have been carved in the rock of Antarctica itself and looks like the remains of what was once a large building. Though the biggest problem for skeptics is that Antarctica is very far from where Plato originally described the city as being, Atlantis should be somewhere near Europe rather than at the bottom of the world. But if the ruins are real and they don't belong to the city of Atlantis, what civilization left them there? The anomalies picked up on these satellite images are fairly convincing. The Doomsday Glacier, one of the most significant glaciers in the world, is being studied by scientists, and they just made a disturbing discovery. Recent camera insertions into the Thwaites Glacier were made by researchers with the Worldwide Thwaites Glacier Collaboration Team. They were curious as to what was occurring to it underwater. The images show that even while the glacier is melting more slowly than initially thought, water beneath the Antarctic ice is producing cracks in some areas, which is causing the ice to melt much more quickly than projected. Worldwide, scientists have given the glacier the moniker Doomsday Glacier. This particular piece of ice, which is about the size of Florida and has already contributed to around 4% of the global sea level rise, has the potential to raise sea levels by 10 feet. If this glacier melts, it would flood your neighborhood's coast with a lot more water. Mystifying holes in the ice. Scientists were terrified when a huge chasm appeared in the middle of the Antarctic sea ice in the 1970s, but it soon disappeared and didn't occur again until recently. Now that it has, it is a problem because they have found enormous holes in the ice, which they refer to as polynaes. The majority of these mysterious holes are located in the Southern Ocean or along the Antarctic coast. They are transient areas that suddenly lose their ice, resemble oases in a desert, and are surrounded by ice. For decades, penguins, seals, and other wildlife use the holes as playgrounds. Scientists have struggled to explain what causes the Antarctic holes, but a few years ago, atmospheric scientist Diana Francis proposed a theory. She realized that when a massive polynya opened in 2017, it occurred as an atmospheric river across the Weddell Sea. An atmospheric river is a collection of moisture in the atmosphere that looks almost exactly like a real river moving through the sky. Atmospheric rivers can be thousands of miles long, with more than a few thousand miles of additional length. Rare meteorite. A group of international researchers recently discovered a collection of 5 rare meteorites in Antarctica, one of which was incredibly large and one of the biggest ever discovered on the continent. These seemingly ordinary black rocks are the size of a cantaloupe but weigh 17 pounds, according to researchers. However, even though the meteorite is only the size of a huge plum, it has so many minerals that it weighs more than your average object. The discovery, according to researcher Maria Valdez from the University of Chicago, is both unusual and fascinating. As you might have guessed, this isn't the first time people have gone meteorite hunting in Antarctica. Over the last 100 years, 45,000 space rocks have been collected from the white surface of the continent, and because of the endless expanse of snow and ice, it is easy to scan for meteorites by looking for a black piece of debris in the snow. However, what are scientists going to do with all these space rocks? According to Maria, who told CNN that her area of expertise is cosmochemistry, she will bring the enormous meteorite back to her lab where she will dissolve it in acids to isolate its constituent elements. Scientists hope to comprehend the origin of the rock itself and even identify the region of the cosmos it originated from. She wants to dissect it to find out exactly what materials it's composed of. Thanks for watching. What's your favorite part? The Castle of Antarctica. In 2012, the GOI-1 satellite captured images of what seemed to be castle remains in Antarctica. The satellite image appears to reveal an oval-shaped ruin in the ice that eerily resembles castle ruins found around Europe. The only thing that remains of the structure, which appears to have been formerly composed of solid stone and timber, are its foundations. It doesn't appear to be a naturally occurring creation you would expect to find in Antarctica. Therefore, just by looking at its shape, you can tell it was assembled with purpose. Even though it appears to have been created, it could be simply a trick. If Atlantis were a genuine city, Antarctica would have been nearly completely submerged in ice for 34 million years. The ruins of the supposed castle, unless they were constructed by an ice-dwelling culture we have never heard of before, might have been the result of melting ice and howling winds 12,000 years ago, when Antarctica would not have been an appropriate location for them. As the winds blow across the ice, snow melts, salt from the sea is forced into clumps, and what appear to be man-made forms are created. It may be sastrugi. The ruins of the castle may simply be the consequence of the wind. If you learned any of our discoveries from this video, please let us know in the comment sections along with your thoughts and ideas.